February edition of Catholic News Desk. My name is John and here are the top headlines. A retired Catholic bishop has been charged with sexual offences in Northwest Australia. Christopher Saunders, aged 74, actively served as a cleric for 45 years. A Vatican investigation into child sexual abuse allegations against Saunders began in 2022. He had been Australia's highest-ranking bishop from 2006 to 2010, when he was also president of the Australian Catholic Bishops' Conference. Last year, an Australian television news network reported the contents of a 200-page Vatican report on Saunders. He has been in police custody since detectives charged him with 19 offences, including indecent assault and indecently dealing with a child, the statement said. The allegations date to 2008 and cover Broome as well as the far-flung northwest towns of Kununurra and Kolumburu. Pope Francis urges Catholics to swap social media for reflection as Lent begins. Pope Francis urged Catholics to forego worldly trappings and focus on essentials as he opened the season of Lent with the traditional Ash Wednesday Mass. He criticized people's tendency to lay bare their lives on social media, exploring a world in which everything, including our emotions and deepest feelings, has to become social. Life is not a play. Lent invites us to come down from the stage and return to the heart, to the reality of who we are, the Supreme Pontiff said. Indian Cardinal Ferraro chosen to head Asian Bishops' Conference. Cardinal Philippine Neri Ferraro, the Archbishop of Goa and Daman in India, was elected as the new president of the Federation of Asian Bishops' Conferences during the Assembly's meeting in Bangkok on Feb 22. Ferraro, aged 71, will replace outgoing President Cardinal Charles Maung Bo, Archbishop of Yangon, Myanmar, and his three-year term will start in January 2025. The increase in the Catholic population in Asia and its growing importance on the global stage has also been reflected in Pope Francis's decision to expand representation to Asian countries in the College of Cardinals. Originally from Goa, Ferraro is a polyglot and speaks Konkani, English, Portuguese, Italian, French, and German. Two former Catholic nuns call on Pope Francis to inquire about the sexual abuse they have been subject to. Miriam Kowak and Gloria Branciani, who served as nuns in the church, want independent inquiry into Marco Rupnik, a Catholic priest who was expelled from the Jesuit order in 2023. Speaking publicly for the first time, Miriam and Gloria said the wall of silence surrounding Marco Rupnik, who has been accused by several women of sexual, psychological, and spiritual abuses dating back 3 decades, had finally crumbled. Rupnik was excommunicated in 2022 for absolving a woman with whom he had a sexual relationship. The absolution of a sexual accomplice is among the most serious crimes under canon law, but he was reinstated 2 weeks later after he repented. In 2022, allegations against Rupnik made by 9 women were dismissed by the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, citing the canonical statute of limitations. In Feb 2019, Francis became the first pontiff to publicly admit that priests had sexually abused nuns and pledged to do more to fight the problem. Pope Francis and cardinals discuss women in the church with female Anglican bishop. With the help of a woman Anglican bishop, a Salesian sister, and a consecrated virgin, Pope Francis and his International Council of Cardinals devoted the first morning of their February meeting to deepening their reflection begun last December on the role of women in the church, the Vatican press office said. This is an ongoing effort to see how women across the Catholic Church could get involved in tasks of increased responsibilities, considering them as equals. A New Orleans Catholic priest charged with rape may be too sick to stand trial. A 92-year-old Roman Catholic priest from New Orleans, who was charged with raping a teenager after strangling him unconscious, is now in and out of consciousness himself, according to the clergyman's defense attorney, who is seeking to postpone a trial date in the case. Accuser fears Lawrence Hecker may not live long enough to stand judgment in criminal court, as lawyer argues priest is a vegetable. But a lawyer for Hecker's accuser said they were growing increasingly worried that the suspected serial predator's trial would be delayed and that he may not long live to ever stand judgment in a criminal court. If for some reason he is unable to stand trial before he dies, it will be another victory for the pedophiles and their protectors in the Catholic Church, and another heartbreak for Hecker's countless survivors, said the lawyer's accuser. Pope Francis canonizes Argentina's first female saint. Pope Francis canonized Argentina's first female saint, Maria Antonia of St. Joseph, known affectionately in the Pope's home country as Mama Antula, in a Mass held at St. Peter's Basilica on February the 11th. Maria Antonia of St. Joseph was canonized. Pope Francis praised the Argentine saint as a model of apostolic fervor and boldness for traveling thousands of miles on foot through deserts and dangerous roads to bring people to God. Mama Antula's feast day will be celebrated on March the 7th. Mexican presidential candidates meet with Pope Francis. Xochitl Galvez Ruz and Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, who are running for president of Mexico in this year's elections, met in private individual audiences with Pope Francis at the Vatican. Mexico's presidential elections are scheduled for June 2. Citizens will elect not only the next president who will succeed Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, but also new members of the federal Congress as well as state governors and mayors. The Vatican press office has not released any official statement regarding Pope Francis's meetings with Galvez and Sheinbaum. In a February 15 press conference, Galvez said her audience with the Holy Father took place on Feb 13 and lasted approximately 40 minutes. The candidate said her meeting with the pontiff was of a spiritual nature, as she described herself as a profoundly Catholic practicing woman. Pope Francis accepts resignation of Polish Archbishop accused of ignoring abuse. Pope Francis has accepted the resignation of Polish Archbishop Andrzej Ziega, who has faced allegations that he ignored abuse cases in Poland. Neither the Apostolic Nunciature of Poland, which announced the resignation on February 24, nor the Holy See press office provided a reason for Ziega's resignation. The 71-year-old prelate, who has led the Archdiocese of Szczecin-Kamień since 2009, will not turn 75, the age at which the canon law requires a bishop to submit his resignation to the Pope, until 2027. Ziega published a two-page resignation letter on February 24, in which he apologized to his brother priests, saying, "If my weaknesses, including incomplete understanding of specific circumstances and sometimes even my ordinary human fatigue, became the cause of your anxiety, I am sorry." The Archbishop said he was resigning due to a radical weakening of his own condition, adding that in the fall, it became obvious to me that it was time to step down, and that the Holy Father agreed. That's all in this February news edition. Thank you for tuning in. See you soon. Bye.